We will start with chanting Om 3 times, followed by the invocation shlokas. Om. सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्. We are covering chapter 8. We started chapter 8 of uh, Bhagavad Gita, which is called Akshara Brahma Yoga. As we talked about in last session, in chapter 7, ended with Bhagavan Krishna suddenly throwing few technical terms that Arjuna wasn't aware of before. Some he knows, some he doesn't. For the ones that he knew, he did not know what is the context, because like there could be multiple meanings for it, and the ones that some of them are brand new. So that's why he paused Lord Krishna's thought flow and said, wait a minute. You used so many terms. Okay, what exactly these terms are? I'm not familiar with these terms. I have never heard these terms before. So please explain these terms to me. Okay, so that's what his question is. So he said, is this Kim Tat Brahma, Kim Adhyatmam, Kim Karma, Adhibhutam Kim, Adhidevam Kim, Adhiyagnam Katham, Koatra Dehe Asmin, Prayanakale what? Okay, explain all of this. Okay, because you suddenly like do all of this, right? Then, because certain like again like Brahma, because Brahma sometimes let us look at few these terms, right? And Brahma, in our Shastra, sometimes Brahman as Nirguna Brahma is considered as Brahma. Of course, that is not, there's no question about that. But sometimes even Hiranyagarbha means the when the Srushti is going to about to happen, okay, the one who from whom the from the subtle universe, when the gross universe is going to manifest, that head of that subtle universe is called Hiranyagarbha. Now in Puranas, this Hiranyagarbha is translated into what? Okay, there should be a simple answer because there's a clue here. It is Brahma only. Okay, this is Brahma, the one with 4 heads we show in Puranas. Okay, he's creating everything, right? He created all of us, right? So what is that creation happening? That means we were in a subtle state, invisible state, unmanifest state, and he is bringing it to manifestation. So are you referring to that Brahman or the Hiranyagarbha? Okay. Now, I also mentioned karma. You use the term karma. So karma means like puja-based karmas, etc. Those kind of things may be the yajna, etc. Or even these karmas that you perform as part of someone's, I mean, like a what you call like a progression, human progression, as in like a child's progression. So usually, like we say Shodasha samskaras, meaning 16 samskaras are to be performed for for a child. So even for a person, okay. So when mother conceives the baby, there's a karma needs to be performed. About fifth month or sixth month, another karma needs to be performed. About before delivery one, immediately after delivery, we do jataka karma, meaning like a naming ceremony. Then annaprasana karma, where we feed the baby first time. Okay. Then Aksharabhyasa karma, right, where you teach. And then, of course, whereas in many families, it is Aksharabhyasa. In some families, this Aksharabhyasa may go along with Upanayana karma, then Vivaha karma, like that. And then the final karma is when he passes away. These are like total 16 in number, okay, that someone has to perform. So those are also karmas. Or even this day-to-day karmas that I'm performing, right? So, for example, I woke up this morning and I brushed my teeth. That's also karma. What is your reference to that karma? That is a question. And then you said adhibhutam, adhyatma, adhidaivam. So all you did is atma, you had a prefix and you said adhyatma. Daivam, you put a prefix called adhidaivam. Okay. And then bhuta, you put prefix and said adhibhuta. And yajna also adhiyajna. So what are these? Okay. So what is Atma versus Adhyatma? What is Bhuta versus Adhibhuta? Okay. Because Adhi means with respect to. Okay. So, and Yajna also, Bhagwan's name is also called Yajna. Okay. In fact, in Vishnu Sahasrama, one of the names of Yajna, sorry, one of the names of Vishnu Bhagwan is Yajna. Similarly, an individual also performs yajna. So who are you referring to? This individual yajna or Vishnu Bhagwan? Okay. And you said you prana kaleapi. Okay. Now see, the thing is that like if prana kala, if you say at the time of death, nothing is in our control. Body is, what is happening in death is we have three shariras, right? Stula, Sukshma, Karana shariras. So from this Stula shariras, Sukshma and Karana shariras, meaning from this gross body, the subtle and causal bodies are separating. Okay, so it is almost like splitting, right? Okay, all of for last how many our years, right? 70 years, 80 years, these three are together, and now you're splitting it. So there is a pain is associated with that, right? Anytime you split something, if there's a pain, so mind is not in control, etc. And you are talking about whoever has mind on me at the time of death. How can I have mind on you, Bhagwan? Okay, when this is happening, okay, how can the mind be controlled at that time? But if you are saying it is possible, so how is that possible? That is a question. And then, in fact, uh, now when Bhagwan used seven terms, Arjuna asked eight questions. Okay. So Arjuna had an extra question. He said, so the question is, Katham ka potra dehe asmin madhusudana? That part is, this is the additional question from Arjuna. He says, you said yajna, right? This is in context yajna. Okay. So adhi yajnam, you said, right? Now, when this yajna has to be performed, a doer of that yajna has to be there. Okay. And this doer we call in Sanskrit as karta. Okay. Now, what is propelling this user to perform this doer to perform this yajna? Okay. How is this within my own body? How is this yajna? initiated. Okay, so these are all questions of Arjuna. Okay, so now all of this is, now this chapter is going to describe all these answers. Now, it is not like 2 shlokas for question 1, 2, 3 shlokas for question 2, like that. No. Out of these 8 questions, right? 7 of them are answered in couple of shlokas. Then the final question, Prayana Kale, okay, at the time of death, okay, how to have that single-mindedness focused on Bhagwan, that becomes the part, that answer becomes the rest of the chapter. That's the majority of this chapter. Okay. So this is, and then what do you recall? What is the name of chapter 7? Anyone? Okay. Chapter 7's name was Jnana Vijnana Yoga. Okay. So that means it is knowledge and wisdom. And what is the result of knowledge and wisdom? Jnana and Vijnana is Jivan Mukti. Okay. Liberation while living right now, right here. And then at the when for such a person, when the body falls, there is no more body. Okay, so that is also called Videha Mukti. He or she is one with Brahman alone. Okay, there's nothing, there's no individuality remaining. Now, as I mentioned before, okay, many times there could be some kind of a blockages inside us, because of which we are not yet ready for Jnana and Vijnana. Then, what do we need to do? This is called as, at that time, we go to step 2. Step 2, no, like as in like one step below. Okay, called as Saguna Brahma Upasana. Okay, so that means praying to the Lord. Upasana means sitting closer to the Lord and praying, right? But now, instead of looking at Brahman, right, Brahman as one absolute everything everywhere, we are looking at Brahman as one big Devata, okay, with form and with attributes. Okay, so now this, when we do Upasana, this Saguna Brahma Upasana, there is a another aspect that needs to be done. What is this other aspect? Is something called as Ahangraha Upasana. So this is something new for you. Okay. This term Ahangraha Upasana is to be done. What it means is that everything is Lord. Okay. But I am also Lord. So I worship the Lord with the attitude that I am part of the Lord. Okay. I worship the Lord with the attitude that I am part of the Lord. So in our, we say in our Vedanta, we have 3 schools of thoughts. So which school does this thought belong to? This. So I'll give you another. We are, what specific Vedanta, what style of school do we belong to as a Vedanta? You are learning Vedanta, yes? Okay.
Advaita Vedanta, right?
Advaita.
Advaita. Nice, good, thank you. So we are learning Advaita. That means everything is one, okay? And there is no difference between me and God. That is Advaita school. What are the other 2 schools? other than Advaita?
Dvaita. Dvaita is one. And the third one is what you mentioned, like, I mean, part of Lord, like, I don't know the term what we call for that one.
Vishishta Advaita.
Vishishta Advaita, yeah.
Okay, we so it is like the idea is Vishishta Advaita is there is a duality. I am part of it, but I also have my individuality. So this individuality doesn't go. Okay? Now, when that kind of a thing is there, what is the moksha for that school of thought? Moksha is to go to Ishta Devata Loka, the domain of that Ishta Devata. The whatever that not domain, the whatever that plane of existence of that Ishta Devata in that form, right? So that means for Vishnu Bhaktas it is Vaikuntha. For Shiva Bhaktas it is Kailasa, like that, right? And they go there and they are with Lord, they are in the presence of the Lord and they stay there like that. Okay, so there ends their mukti. Now, Vedanta, again, it is not. So, and then what happens for them, to them? Okay, are they going to become part of Bhagwan or not? So here, again, like I cannot really talk too much about other schools because I don't have too much of insider information or like the full understanding of those schools, right? So I cannot really say. But what our Advaita says is that is not final. Okay, the final is like you become one with Bhagwan and then you lose your individuality. That is the final thing. Now, to get to that point, what it is said is that you go, that is step one, but that is only one step. And there will be a time called pralaya. Okay. Pralaya means dissolution. When the dissolution happens, often dissolution of earth and our current plane of existence happens often. Often in the sense like, whenever Brahmaji, this Hiranyagarbha, lifetime is over, this Chaturdasha Bhuvanani, the 14 planes of existence, 7 below, 7 above earth, right? Below are Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Tala, Tala, Rasa, Tala, Patala, like that they go. And then above us, we say Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, like that. Okay. And Satya, it ends with Satya. Satya Loka is what we call as Brahma Loka, the extremely highest Loka. And this Satya Loka is same as Brahma Loka, which is same as Vishnu Loka or Kailasa. If you're Ram Bhakta, it is what is it? Rama is they say not Kosala. Forgot what over the term. Okay, like for Krishna Bhakta is Goloka, Rama is Saketa Loka. Okay, so like that, depending upon your Ishtadevata, you go there. And the Ishtadevata is none other than the visual form of Brahman only. Okay, the visual form of Brahman has to unmanifest also. When that happens, it is said that they give the knowledge, this ultimate knowledge, to those souls or those jivas that are there with them. And with that knowledge, they attain mukti. Okay. So there is two-step process, right? Step one, go to Brahmaloka, Satyaloka, or whatever loka, and step two, from there you go. Now, this is not same as Indra Loka. Okay, Indra Loka is Swarga. So when whoever goes to Swarga, they come back. So go to Swarga, come back. This, once you go to Brahma Loka, you're not coming back, but from there you're taking the next train. Okay, but you have to wait until the dissolution of that. Okay. Now, so this is called as because the two steps are involved. This mukti is called as krama mukti, step by step mukti. Okay. Jivan mukti is mukti right now, right here. Videha mukti is because when this body fell down, there are no more bodies to take life, and you have already uh, attained knowledge, so you become one with Brahman. There is no trace of you left anywhere anymore. Okay. Now, even when these people go from here and live in Brahmaloka, they have a particular form. Okay. So there is still in with some other deha. It is luminous and all of that, but it is still the other deha is there. So that deha, all the dehas are lost only when final mukti happens. Okay. So this ahangraha upasana, now in you see that uh, the references to this ahangraha upasana, even though this term is not used, comes in Upadesara and many other texts also. Okay. And one example is um, Swami Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is an example. He used to do Ahangra Upasana, but he's a Jnani also. So when he used to do Mother Kalika Puja, Kalika Devi Puja, after puja we need to give Aarti. Okay. So he used to give Aarti to Mother and everyone everywhere. And then he used to give Aarti to himself also. He used to do Aarti for himself also. Now, people thought this is doing blasphemy. Okay. You take Aarti like this, but you don't turn the Aarti to yourself. So they went and complained to, apparently there was a queen at that time. They complained to queen. So queen asked him, apparently, what is this? What are you doing? He said, wherever I see Bhagwan, I do Aarti. I see Bhagwan in myself also. Okay? So I do Aarti for myself also. That is his knowledge. Okay. But like behind this knowledge, this uh, practice of asangraha upasana is also there, that I am also part of God. Okay. So doing upasana for God with the idea that I am also part of that God is called ahangraha upasana. Okay. Now, okay. Now, what is the difference between Aham Brahmasmi statement like that? Tattvamasi, you said Aham Brahmasmi, meaning I am Brahman, versus Ahasangraha Upasana is, in the first case, when the seeker is saying, I am Brahman, it is based upon direct knowledge, direct understanding. Okay? He knows that he is Brahman. The second case is bhavana, meaning feeling. That in case of Asangra Upasana, I believe that I am part of Brahman. Why? Because of my faith, my Shraddha in my scriptures and Bhagwan and my Guru. Okay, so because I trust in Shastra, Guru, Ishvara, and they are all saying that I am part of them, that's why I believe that I am part of Brahman. But do I have actual experience? No. This is the difference between Asangraha Upasana and the Jnana. Okay. Any questions based on what you heard? So shall we go to the shloka number 3? Okay. So I'll break down the words. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. 3 words together become Sri Bhagavan Vacha. Very simple. You all hear it all the time. Aksharam Brahma Paramam Swabhavo Adhyatma Uchyate. Okay, Swabhavo Adhyatma Uchyate. It has got 3 words in them. Swabhavaha, Adhyatmam uchyate. These three words together becomes Swabhavo Adhyatmam uchyate. Bhuta Bhavodbhavakaro. That has got four words in them. Bhuta, Bhava, Udbhava, Karaha. Okay, and that Karaha become when it is due to sandhi with the next word, it becomes Bhuta Bhavodbhavakaro. Visargaha, single word. Karma Sanyitaha. Okay, karma and sanyitaha together. Karma sanyitaha. So this is the breakdown of the shloka. So one of you please go off mute and repeat after me. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
श्रीभगवानुवाच
Aksharam Brahma Paramam
अक्षरं ब्रह्म परमं
Svabhavodhyatmamuchyate
स्वभावोऽयम् उच्यते
Bhuta Bhavodbhavakaraha
भूतभावोदभवकरः
Visargah Karma Sanyitaha.
विसर्गकर्मसन्निधः
So this we chant together with the fourth shloka also. So I'll break down the fourth shloka. Okay, so then one of you go off mute and repeat after me. Adhibhutam ksharo, that's actually ksharaha, but because of sandhi it becomes ksharo. So now you probably must have gotten this, right? Whenever there's a O is there at the end, and there's a word after that, most likely it is visarga as opposed to O. Okay, because that's a rule of something. Okay, so adhibhutam ksharaha bhavaha purushashchadhidaivatam. Okay, so this word purushashchadhidaivatam has three words in them. Purushaha cha adhidaivatam. Together becomes purushashchadhidaivatam. Adhiyagnohamevatra. Adhiyagnohamevatra has got three words in them. Adhiyagnaha, aham, actually four words. Adhiyagnaha, aham, eva, atra. Okay, together becomes Adhiyagna mohamevatra. Dehe, single word. Deha bhutam. So they are actually like two words. So you can split it into two words there. Deha and bhutam vara. Okay, so this is the other one. Okay, so one of you please go off mute. Adhibhutam ksharo bhavaha
अधिभूतं क्षरो भावः
purushashchadhidaivatam
पुरुषच्चादि अधिदैवतम्
adhiyajnohamevatra
अधियज्ञो हे मात्रा
adhiyaj
अधियज्ञो मे
va
मात्रा
dehe dehabhutam vara.
देहे देहभृताम्बरा.
So here, so Bhagavan, I mean Arjuna has asked questions, right? Or what is this Brahman? Okay, etc. Okay, so is it a Parabrahma, Aparam Brahma? Okay, so now, Bhagavan is answering all of these questions. Okay, what is the first question? What is Brahman that you mentioned? The answer is he gave Aksharam Brahma. That's all the answer. Okay, for that question, one word answer. That was enough. What is Aksharam Brahma? We know like para and apara prakriti, right? Para when we say in terms of para and apara, we studied para, apara is lower and para is higher. Okay. So now whatever is visible Prakriti, that Virat and Hiranyagarbha, that is Param is supreme, right? Which is consciousness. That's how we defined it. Now, Brahman here is defined as Aksharam. Kshara means what? Kshara means one that can be split. Akshara is something that cannot be split. Okay? Akshara is something that cannot be split. Now, see, think about this, right? Alphabets, what do we call them in our local languages? The letters in the alphabets in Telugu, etc. Telugu or Tamil, what do we call them? In our own local language, we call them as Akshara. Okay. So that means what? When you see Rama, the word Rama, Rama is a word, pada. Okay. Now, Rama is a pada. Then what are the aksharas in there? Ra and Ma. Okay. So two syllables are there. Ra and Ma. Two syllables, not aksharas. Now, can we break down Ma further down? Can we break down Ra further down? It can be broken down. Okay. How? Ra plus A becomes Ra. Okay. So in Telugu, or maybe Hari, also see both in Telugu and Tamil or even Hindi, right? In all languages, how do we learn whatever, right? So I, U. So now, when it comes to consonants, how do we learn? Ka, kha, ga, gha. That's how we learn in Telugu or Hindi. In Tamil, it is ka, ga, ka, cha, like that. Right? There are fewer alphabets are there in original Tamil because it is a much ancient language. So they were able to do fewer syllables. So ka, ga, ka and ga were one and the same. So after ka, I think cha, right? Right? Yeah, like that. Now, in Sanskritam, that's not how you learn. Okay, there's a difference. You don't learn as kakha, gagha, jnyan. Rather, you learn as k, g, k, k, g, g, like that. Okay, those are the aksharas. Now, why? When you say ka, right, like Rama, Ra is there, right? So that is where what happened. Ra and A have come together. Okay, so that means if you take the base letter Ra, that also has two breakdowns, R and A. Okay. So if you is it R and A or Ra and A, which is right? R and A together becomes Ra is correct, or Ra and A together have become Ra is correct. The first case is apparently correct, right? So R and A becomes Ra. So that's why they say alphabets in Sanskritam are actually like the aksharas are k, k, g, g, like that. Okay, the base letters. Okay. Now, if you look at that way, if you say Rama has four R, A, M, A. Can you break down any of this further down? No, you cannot break them any further down. So that is why they are called akshara. Okay. This from a language perspective. why we call aksharas like that. Now, what is akshara in terms of our prapancha, world? Anything and everything in this world is breakable. Breakable means dissolve. They dissolve. But they dissolve or they from dissolution. Okay, they get manifest, unmanifest, dissolution, creation. Whatever terms you use, essentially they all change. Okay, unlike these aksharas. Okay, they change. What is the changeless entity? Is akshara. Okay, that changeless entity, which is absolute changeless entity, is what? That Akshara Brahma is what I'm talking about. Okay, that Akshara Brahma is what I'm talking about. And so that is the answer. So that means what? He's talking about Supreme Brahman. Okay, because Bhagavan has started about this Akshara Brahma, this word Aksharam Brahma, he has started this set of discourse with Aksharam Brahma. That's why this chapter is called as Akshara Brahma Yoga. Okay. So now, because and then in our text, para is highest. Okay, and in our Upanishads, etc., always we add this para with akshara, because akshara also, because what happens is that akshara parabrahma yoga, that's our akshara brahma, akshara parabrahma. See, what happens is that sometimes, now here is an interesting thing. What did I define akshara as? One that, sorry, I mentioned that one doesn't break. Okay. Now, from a relative term, Prakriti also appears to be, it is changing, but it is always there. So that's why sometimes Prakriti is also called as Akshara. So that's why we are Paramam. A word is also added. Okay, Aksharam Brahma Paramam. Okay, this is the definition of Brahma. So Aksharam Paramam. Sorry, actually, so I said one word, right? So the answer is actually two words. Aksharam Brahma Paramam. So that Param means that supreme, which is here unbreakable. That is Akshara Brahma. Then question one is answered. Okay. What is Adhyatma? Okay. Adhyatma. Typically, we say Adhyatma means our own individual, right? So, as in like, so for example, spirituality. How do we translate Adhyatma into English? It's usually spiritual, right? Adhyatma. So like you have like Adhyatma books means spiritual books, a category. Adhyatma Shastra means spiritual books. Okay, like that, right? So now Adhyatma is defined as Swabhavaha Adhyatmam Uchyate. He said, Bhagavan said Swabhavaha. Okay, Adhyatmam Uchyate. This is the third sloka, first line, second half. Okay, so Uchyate means it is said. So Swabhava is said to be Adhyatmam. Okay, so the simpler definition, simpler understanding is this Atma, with respect to this particular embodiment, is called as Adhyatma. Okay. So now, from a definition perspective, Atmanam Adhyastaya Tishtati, this is Adhyatma. So in your in your body, okay, whatever is setup. I mean, like whatever is tishtati means one, it is remaining, presiding over this entirety of this body. That is called as adhyatma. This is swabhava. Swabhava means what? Typically, we translate swabhava as nature. Okay, so this is his nature. That is his swabhava. Now, there are two things, right? When you have, so for example, I have some bad habits. Okay, I have some bad habits. Now, there may be some of these bad habits I can get rid of. Yeah, but some of them I cannot, no matter what I do. Yeah. Whether it's bad habits, good habits, it doesn't matter. Okay, there are certain, I can be changed in certain manner. I cannot be changed in certain ways. Okay, so for example, things I can, the way, like in certain areas where I can change is, if, for example, I like, I'm just thinking about, okay. So, for example, I have a preferred way of travel. Okay, I always want to travel in the night. Okay, but someone says like, no, nighttime driving is not a good thing, even if it is a little bit more difficult, more traffic is there. If you want to go long distance, better traveling during daytime because that is better. Nighttime travel is bad, and I change. Okay, I change my habit of driving from nighttime for long distance to daytime for long distance. Now let us say I'm used to standing with my head tilted like this, let us say. Okay. Now, someone comes and says, no, don't tilt your head like this all the time. It doesn't look good. It doesn't like show that you are active or what you call like very not powerful. The term I'm looking is that you don't look agile. Okay, you look weak and tired. You don't look energetic when you put your head like this. Okay, so okay, I'll try to keep my head straight. After half an hour, again it goes like that. Basically, whatever, right? One way or other. So this, no matter how many people say it, however long, throughout my life, I will never able to correct. Okay. So this is just an example I'm saying, right? So like this, the swabhava, no matter how much we try to correct, we cannot really correct. I mean, it takes a really long time, really long effort for extremely long period for us to correct that. Okay, that is swabhava. Okay, because that is our own individual nature, right? So, for example, we say, "Hey, why did he do that?" That is his nature. He is like that. Okay, so he always does like that. So that is his nature. No matter how many people, how many times they yell at him, he does things like that only. Right? So we say that, so that is the swabhava. So here, adhyatma is that closest to swabhava. That closest to swabhava, what is the most adhyatma? Okay, is, okay, my nature is what? My true thing is, I am Brahman. This is my real swabhava is, I am Brahman. Okay. This, on the other hand, as a Brahman, I am Sakshi, okay, etc. Right? I am that Brahman. This is my thing. But this Brahman, with respect to body, okay, uh, but what happens is that sometimes I think that I am not this Brahman, but I think that I am this body. Okay. So this is wrong swabhava. Okay. So my true nature is Brahman. However, I think that I am this body. That is incorrect. So what Bhagavan is saying is that when I use the word adhyatma, okay, I am referring to your true swabhava. Okay. So true swabhava is adhyatma, okay, which is the Atma itself. With respect to Atma, you are that real Atma, meaning here Paramarthika, like absolute Atma, you are. That is what Bhagavan is saying. So it's actually past 10 o'clock. So we'll pause here and we'll cover the rest of the shloka. And we'll chant the shloka again next week and we will cover the rest of the shloka in next session. Okay. Before we conclude, are there any questions?
Venkat, I have a question, but it's not related to this one. So this like the dialogue between Krishna and this is happening in the war field, right? So how much time did it take? Because like everyone is ready to fight and other things, right? So like how much time did it elapsed in this conversation?
So if you chant entire Bhagavad Gita in any schools, etc., right? Like we do Gita chanting,
Yeah,
etc.
yeah.
Depending upon the raga, etc., it will take about 3.5 to 4 hours. Okay?
Okay.
To
Mhm.
chant entire shlokas. Now, understand that now of this, but that is based upon Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Like,
Slowly, yeah.
but there they are talking.
The conversation, yeah.
They are not singing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then in this chapter one, etc., all of that, the description of entire chapter one is like actually like very less talk is there. But I mean, there's like about like 10 or 15 shlokas by Arjuna is are done, but that is
Mhm.
before war, and everything is like a Sanjay's description of what is happening in the war. Okay.
Mhm.
Similarly, 11th chapter, so it is some of the, even though it's one of the biggest chapters, it's like third biggest chapter, largest chapter is 11th one, Vishwarupa Yoga. There, again, so there's a lot of Sanjay's description of what Arjuna is seeing, etc.
Okay.
So now when you see something, right, it takes barely a second to see everything. But to describe what you have seen, it may take a
Yeah,
long.
long time.
One that if you remove that, etc., all of that, and if you chant this fast enough, I mean, like it can be done probably as low as 1 hour or 1 hour 15 minutes, something like that. Okay. So now the question is that we also say that actually like we I don't think we did it, but this dialogue between Lord Krishna and Arjuna, it is written by sage Vedavyasa. I mean, it is narrated by Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra, but this whole thing is part of Mahabharata, which is written by Vedavyasa, sage Vedavyasa. So, when Vedavyasa wrote that, he might have clarified some additional things that whatever Krishna and Arjuna spoke about to give little bit extra context or something like that. So, those kind of things might have also happened.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So, yeah. So, like, so now, how long did the war stop because of this? We don't know.
Yeah, thank you. Because that strike me like, I mean, how much like because we are in the right, like critical, like what is happening? That's why we're like thinking like
Yeah, yeah. Because see, the other thing is that when Krishna says something, Arjuna doesn't need any interpretation or much thing.
yeah,
Because Arjuna has a very sharp mind. He is the one who did tapas, and because of his tapas, Lord Shiva appeared in front of him and he gave him Pashpatastra. Okay. And he he is one of the rare few individuals who went to Swarga with his body to meet Indra, etc. And that is where he gets Shapa from Urvashi. Yeah, from Urvashi, that he becomes eunuch, and he uses that 1 year. He uses that Shapa, that curse, to be like a eunuch at during his Ajnatavasa, okay, in Virata's court, right? So that means that, and he is the son of Indra Bhagwan himself, right? So with all of that, his intellect is very sharp. Yes, I mean, they have studied everything. I mean, even though his focus was on Dhanurvidya, they have a decent understanding of the basic knowledge of those times, etc. And because of the whatever Bhagwan has spoke, he would get it immediately. And then they don't, he doesn't need to think. Wait a minute, what did you say? Let me think. Like that, okay, he did not need that, right? So that's why it probably has gone much faster.
Yeah. Thank you, Venkat.
We'll close. पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ